impromptu live here. I thought it would be fun to work on this penny thing because I'm going to be working on it anyway tonight, and I thought it'd be cool. So we just did Open Studio, and we are going to try the vertical format, which is a lot of fun because this is the way I used to do this with my phone and everything. So this is definitely old school. So there might be a little bit of a learning curve because I haven't done a live stream on my phone in I don't know, a couple of years now. So anyway, welcome. I'm going to turn the camera around. If I can figure out how to do that. I don't know how to do that. Anyway, we'll figure it out. Oh, this one. All right, so here's the penny. The other thing you guys usually get like this view from live. You know, you get to see the like the magnets and everything, but you don't usually get to see the little like the outtakes, so the cameras and everything. So there's the big camera. And then that's the overhead camera that I used to, when you see all the 543s, that's the palette camera, and there's a bunch of airbrushes. But anyway, Adam, welcome back. All right, so we're gonna try this. Again, this is going back like old school. Like I haven't done this kind of thing in a while. So forgive me if it's funny because it's so lower tech than what I have set up for the regular live stream, which is all the high def cameras and the switcher and everything. The problem, well, one of the problems with doing it this way, or that I was thinking about doing, was that the little switcher I have, the ATEM Mini Pro, this little guy right here, that's what runs the whole live stream. So that it can't handle vertical format. It's designed for just horizontal. So, Gary, I know, I was just saying that, Gary. It's just like the old days. This is fun. So anyway, you know, it's my new phone. This is an iPhone. It's not the brand new iPhone. It's a 16, but new enough. So we're gonna test out the ye old camera here and see how it does. And that's not so bad. Oh, there's a scratch on it and everything already. Oh boy. Rhea, what's up? Yay. All right. So hopefully you guys can hear everything. Everything's good that way. I think you guys can hear me, right? Oh, I'm dropping stuff. All right, so this is George's penny that I started with the microscope. I'm probably going to do some of the details with the microscope later, but I'm going to see how fast I can get this done. So let me zoom back out. Tater, what's up? Yeah, thanks. So that's a 1947 penny. And of course, that's the Bell X1. So in 1947 is when the sound barrier was broken, and by the glamorous Glennis. And which I probably can't even say because I from what I understand, the pilot that we all know, his family is relentless on copyright stuff, which I found out from Brian Dunbar. So much so that the family would go to, or have people go to, like model conventions, and anyone who had a model of this particular plane with glamorous Glennis on it, they required them to take the model out, because of the copyrights on the name on the plane. They even tried to copyright the Bell orange color, which is ridiculous. So Todd, what's up? Tater, there we go. All right, so here we go. So what I did on this last time was I kind of fixed the ground or the sky underneath. You can see that white blob underneath the plane. That's not supposed to be there. So we're gonna kind of start with that. I gotta finish fixing that. I don't know how far we'll get. I don't even know how long I'll go. This is more just kind of like a test run, which again is super weird because Gary can tell you, I used to do all my live streams like this before. Just, you know, phone and me, and it was fun. But, you know, then Scott was great in getting me to upgrade everything, which was good. So, I mean, I don't regret it. It was awesome. This is cool. This is the FH7. So if you're familiar with airbrush shields, this is the big shield. But in the anniversary issue of the set, they made this little tiny version of this. I love this thing. Nobody else on Wednesdays. Well, usually a break, so I figured it'd be fun and to jump in on Wednesdays. I don't know. Oh, see, I can't even say the name, I don't think. Well, whatever. All right, so I've got that template there. I'm going to hold it with a little magnet. Again, this is an actual 1947 penny. So there's a magnet behind it here. So this is a neodymium magnet. And so it's strong enough to go through everything. So it's just going to hold the template there while I fix this. I am totally not set up for this. So I apologize in advance if things aren't ready to go. Usually, but like Monday nights, I've took a half an hour and prepped everything before I started and all that fun stuff. But tonight was, like I said, I was talking to Cheese Grits and NyQuil about, he was telling me about how he's having a good time with these vertical formats and that I should give it a shot again. And I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. So it's kind of last minute, but you did there. Wow, there's no palette cam or anything. Oh well. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mix up some really light blue. Tom stopped doing the live feeds on Wednesday. Yeah, Gary. Hopefully I know he's working out a bunch of stuff. I know he's still doing classes and everything. So hopefully he gets back to doing his live streams. I really enjoyed them. I missed a bunch of them because Tim would go on later. He starts at 9:30 normally, and for a while there, I was going through some health stuff, and I was usually in bed by like 9, so I was missing his feed a lot. But hopefully he'll get back to it. Okay, so there's some light blue there. This is a little my Micron C that might need to be cleaned soon. We'll see. This is lighter than it needs to be. I should darken this up a little bit. I want to try to match the color that's, I'll use the X-Acto blade since it's real small. I want to try to match this color right here. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to fade this down into this and hopefully get a close enough match. What that was originally was just that when I put the plane in, it was in or the jet, it was in the wrong spot, just slightly. And again, with something like this, a little bit off was a lot of bit off. You know what I'm saying? Gary, he's such a great painter of the art, does a great job explaining painting color. Yeah, he's a classically trained artist and is an excellent teacher. And a lot of that, and he'll tell you the same thing. A lot of that is his art lineage. Like his family tree as far as his art instructors. He's taken his instructors include people like Harvey Dinnerstein, which is one of the most amazing. I don't know what kind of specifically like what his type of style of painting is called, but he's a figurative artist, but does real urban type scenes, and he's just amazing, or was amazing. He's passed, but that's one of Tim's instructors. So to have someone as major as that in the art world as your instructor, it shows in the way that then Tim goes on and teaches other people as well. Tonight's cheers is water, so because again, this is totally crazy. All right, so there you go. That's a little bit better. That's a little bit more what we're looking for. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paint on the edge of this stencil, and I'm going to let the overspray kind of do the work. If I spray right on that section, I'm going to leave like a really noticeable mark because the color isn't exactly the same. I can tell out of the gate, but it's going to be close enough. So if I use the overspray to catch up that section first, it's basically just the edge of the, little bit of the paint kind of skipping off the edge of that template. Yeah, it's going to be too dark now, but that's okay. I also don't want to, I don't want to go too close to the wing, and I also don't want to go too close to the end. You can see I left a little end there, because if I do, you'll catch the template. You'll see the line from the template, and I don't want that. I'm going to lighten that up just a little bit. So I'm going to add a little bit more white to it, because what I'm doing is I'm just kind of bumping that color around till it's as close to that blue around it as it can be. Kyle, what's up? All right. So if these things are cool, if you guys don't mind vertical format, because I can do that easily with my phone, um, I may do a lot more of these, just kind of random pop-up type things. Like if I'm just hanging out working, I'll just turn the camera on. It's a lot easier to do this obviously than it is to fire up the whole entire live stream setup. Which is why I don't, I'm not on all the time with that. All right, we'll see how this is. This is a little bit lighter. So what I've done with that first pass is I've taken the curse off. It's pretty close, but now I can kind of fine tune that with this little bit lighter blue. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to let that kind of skip off the template. Let's see, that is darker too. All right, let's see how that looks. It's still not bad. It's close. It's just not right on there. The other thing is I should have, there's no way I'll be able to find it. I should have the cutout of this plane, or I keep calling it a plane. I don't know what it is because it was experimental. It was the first of its kind. So it's not, I guess it's more of a rocket than a jet, but yeah. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna keep kind of spreading that blue fade out a little bit now. So now what's going to happen is I'm going to start using that blue like in this area here. So that way I've got this already caught up and now I'm just extending it so that the whole thing is the right color. It is going to be darker. You can see that in relationship to the front over here, which I'm going to have to hit as well. But that's okay, because if you look at the very front of this, you can see the orange overspray right there. Oh, Kyle, thanks, buddy. That's awesome. See, these are things I don't even know what's going on. I know YouTube is trying to be TikTok, as Instagram is as well. So you guys, I have no idea how any of this works. So I appreciate it all. Like, what the heck is that? That's fun. Oh my gosh. YouTube and I want to be TikTok. All right, so again, I just kind of really lightly go over that. All that weird stuff, like the orange that's coming off the front of that jet, that's all overspray or underspray. So that's the extra paint that was going where it shouldn't. So the good news is that's really like light. There's not a lot of it on there. So it doesn't take much to cover it. Now with these paintings, even more than the Tokyo painting is the same way, but it's a lot of just back and forth. What is all that? I don't know what all this is. I love it though. This is cool. Cosmo, what's up? And Luther, what's happening? Did you design challenge coins? No, this is, I've done a couple coins. Actually, Gary's here. He has one of them. And I just have fun painting on them. So I had this idea that what I'm going to start doing is picking, things like times in history and events in history. And I'll find a coin that matches that in the date, and then I'll just do that image on that coin. So of course, this is 1947, the first, when the Bell X-1 flew for the first time and broke the sound barrier. So it'll be fun to do a bunch of these coins. And it's a side thing like this. If you've, for the people who are new, welcome. I appreciate you guys being here. This is being done as a gift for a friend of mine who gifted me a microscope. Knew what I did, and I don't use a microscope when I work, but he actually had an extra stereo microscope and gave it to me, and so I'm doing this painting for him. How much do I charge for custom painting? That's a great question. It really depends on the painting. Like a 543, like one little, I'll back up here. So one of the ones from like the Monday night thing, let me show you. Pick one. You have to back this up a little bit. This is one from this Monday night. So these guys here, these are 3 by 4 inches. These are, a commission on these is about $200. And then, however, like, you know, there's this, which takes me a couple hours to do. And then you guys just saw the, whatever it is. Where did I put it? Oh, it's not right here. Yeah, it's right here. So then you guys just, some of you just saw the Tokyo painting being painted. So this is roughly the same size. This is 2 inches by 4 inches. This one's 3 by 4 inches, or really 2.5 by 4.5. But this one, I mean, like we talked about on the video on the Open Studio, I'm in like 38 hours on this painting right now. So this is a lot more, you know. So it depends, as far as commissions go, it really depends on what, you know, what you're looking for. So it's hard to put like a blanket price on it. But these 543s, I do a lot of these, and so there is an option on my website for commissions for these. So that's a pretty standard set price for those. Something like this is, you know, it's all over the road. Harmony, oh, thank you, Harmony. I appreciate that. I hope so too. Accidentally swiped another live, and the guy's cutting the shell of a hard-boiled egg with a nail clipper. See, Kyle, those are my people. Michael, what's up? Thanks, Real. That's awesome. Yeah, if you go to the site, the 543 commission is right on the front page. Any other commissions, big commissions and things like that, you can just send me a message, and we'll figure it out. All right, so let's get back close. So there is some damage on this guy right at the top there. So I'm going to switch to paintbrush for a little bit. I'm happy with that. Now, you guys are seeing up close. So you guys are so close. You can see the extra paint, the little line from the extra paint. That's where the orange was before. So that looks really noticeable right now. There's not much I can do about that unless I actually, you know, take a knife blade and like remove that orange paint and then repaint it. But I'm not going to go that crazy with this, because as I back out, you really can't see it. Incidentally, since I am backed out, do I have it here? I don't have it here, but I have a frame that I'm making for this as well, so it's a lot of fun. Brother Bob, it's not Monday night. This is a bonus round for all the people who just are that insane. All right, let's get back on this. So I have a couple reference photos that I'm using. Shoot, I apologize to the original artist. This is it's a great painting. If you go back and watch when I started this on the feed with the microscope, I have this artist's name. So I have this. This is the kind of vibe that I'm going for. This is obviously a painting. It's a great painting. I love it. So I wanted this kind of vibe, but I'm using the original photograph of the X1, which is this. That's my actual reference photo. Now, again, because of the stupid legal stuff that that particular family is kind of enforcing, I've chosen the side of the plane that doesn't have the glamorous glennis on it. So again, this is a gift for someone, so I'm not worried about it, but I also don't want to deal with anything because I am posting this, you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, I mean, I'm all for, you know, taking care of intellectual property, but you know, I mean, the whole flight wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for what Bell did, you know what I mean? So it belongs to Bell as much as it does for that pilot and his family. So anyway, you know, I'm just ranting, so there you go. All right, hey Swamp, what's up? All right, so let me do a little bit of fixing on this. I'm gonna grab some orange. It's just, all these paints are Createx Wicked colors. This is a poor example of the bottle because it's all used and everything, but that's what I use for paint. It's made by a company called Createx, and they're very, very cool. I love them a lot. This is kind of an all-purpose paint. It's designed to work on, well, everything, because that's the definition of all-purpose. Really cool stuff. I usually paint on some sort of metal. Aluminum is my go-to. This obviously is you know, copper. And the products that they have to go with it, the mediums and stuff, they just allow this stuff to stick to everything, which is great. I like it. Real what's going on. All right. And Swab, there is no rush for your lovely wife to grab a painting, so whatever she decides, we will make that happen. All right, straight up orange. I gotta fix that little scratch right there. What I should have done, and you can see this, after I finish the background, see how shiny Lincoln is? That, I've put a layer of clear on this to protect the painting. You can see that because like the part I just painted underneath the jet now is like matte. That's the usual finish of the paint. So what I should have done was that after the stage of kind of doing the details on the jet, I should have re-cleared it. It would have taken 2 seconds, but I didn't, and I'm paying the price for it now, so it's all right. Adding to the trust me, I won't. That was funny though. That was great. I loved the way that worked out. Yeah, so there was some weirdness with that dragonfly painting. So what happened was, on my website, there are usually there are always no back orders on 543s. They're one and done. So, but for some reason, when I posted that up, I didn't click the no back order, and it left that painting up even after it was purchased. So Chris got the first one, and I did something a little bit special for his painting. And then after that, Deidre has a dragonfly painting, and then there was another person after that also ordered the dragonfly painting. So I had to do 3 of them, but each one of them is different. So I was pretty happy about that. Yeah, so Swamp, that's an iridescent. Well, I have the blue version of it here, but there's a green version of it too. It's Cosmic Sparkle Green. And what it is there's the pigment down the bottom. You can see the blue cast to it, but mostly this, you can't really see it, but most of this is clear. And when you spray it, it's invisible except from certain angles. It'll flash whatever color. In this case, blue, in your case, green. So it's great for little effects like the dragonfly wings because you can't see it unless you look at it from a certain angle, which is great. All right, so this is like a popsicle orange. It's like a really pale orange. So on the back of the Bell X1, there's a little spine that goes all the way back to the vertical stabilizer here. And so we're gonna try to build that up a little bit. It actually bumps up a little bit more than what I have here, which is good. I'd rather add than have to take away. As you saw, doing repairs or altering the sky in the back is a pain in the butt. So I'd rather be going from this direction. So with this kind of painting, it is really just kind of back and forth, and it's building up really slowly. Like I'm putting these layers on really lightly and just letting them build up. This color is really pale, but you can't really tell that until I get it really built up. Yeah, Michael, that's awesome. I just was catching up with all that, so I want to see what you come up with that. Obviously, we weren't around this weekend, so I missed any of your live streams while I was hanging around in Massachusetts. Thanks, Gary. All right, so that's an excellent question. You have so many names, Western, Cheese, Grits, and other names. Let's call it Cheese. So yeah, so what I did first, can I do this? Why not? What could go wrong as I'm about to screw up the painting? Let me show you the back of this guy. I'll back it up a little bit so you can see. So what I did, I love 3M tape. There you go. So what I did was, I gotta clean this up. Can I do this now? Oh, I'm really gonna screw this up. Hold on. I mean, if we're gonna do it, we might as well do it, right? So, oops, sorry. Hold my beer, as they say. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a paper towel here. I'm gonna grab a little bit of rubbing alcohol. This is death for this paint. Rubbing alcohol is great. It will clean this paint. It'll also break it down. So obviously if I get this on the front of the painting, it becomes a very sad story for me. But for the back, it'll work. So what I did was I polished this coin. It didn't look like this originally. And then I sprayed it with the 6000. And that stuff is great. So it's a clear, it's a direct to metal clear as well, even though it's water based. And I'm not going to go too much farther with this, but yeah, you could basically bring it all the way back. And then that 6000, not only does it stick to the metal really, really well, it also acts as a great base for the paint. So that's what I did with it. It was pretty straightforward. Nice. Well, Bob, if anyone's going to steal my beer, it's okay if you do. Robert is my brother from another mother up in Canada. Literally. He's my brother's brother-in-law, but he's my brother. So that makes my actual brother my brother-in-law, which is weird, I guess. No? Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Something like that. Steve, I have a question. Do you store your Metallicos upside down? Because I just started to do that. Michael, that's an excellent question. So here's, again, this is Cosmic Sparkle Blue. That's all the pigment down there. Just that little wave right here. And everything else is binder, right? So to use this paint, you have to spend about 10 minutes breaking all that up and shaking it. Michael, I still leave them, bottom down, because I have that cool paint shaker. So what I do with the metallic colors is I just get I have all these meat skewers around, these little, well, you can't see it because it's too close, damn it. I have all these meat skewers, so what I'll do is I'll just, get in there and move it all around. And then I will use the test tube vortex mixer, this one, which is not plugged in. But once I get it kind of, mixed up or broken off the bottom, this thing rotates at like a zillion RPM, and it shakes up the paint. So that between that, I can get this viable in about 10 minutes. So yeah, I mean, if you store them upside down, I think what has to happen, Michael, is if you store them upside down for like a month, or upside down for a month, then the next month just rotate them back, to keep it from settling on either side, really. I think that would be really helpful. Or you can go and invest in one of those cool automatic paint rotators that, like, I don't know, tattoo artists have them. It's a drum and it's got a bunch of holes in it, and you just stick your paint in it and it just rotates constantly. So if you have, all the money in the world, you can go do that too. Badger paint mixer. No, Adam, and it's funny you say that because I had to go buy one of those things. I really want one. What Adam is talking about is, you guys know the big, like, paint stirrers that you can buy for your drill, and you paint, you stir like gallons of paint. Badger makes a little tiny version of that you plug into, I don't know, maybe a drill or a Dremel or something. And then you can stir little bottles of paint. I keep meaning to get one, but I keep forgetting. So yeah, Gary has quite the collection. I can tell you, Gary has a bunch of them. Honey has a bunch of them. Les Cook, if you guys remember Les has a bunch of them. People, it's great. I am super happy that not only people have one of them, when they start getting into them, they have a bunch, and that makes me super happy. We're talking about those little black and white paintings. The same mixer, I thought it'd be easier to flip it the other way, mix it up. Yeah, I think if that works that way, Michael, let me know. Oh, good. That's awesome. Oh, that's cool, Adam. Yeah, I like I said, I keep meaning to get one because they are super practical. They're really cool. And not that much money, so that's good too. But yeah, I never get around to it, or I keep forgetting to. I think Coast has them. Dick Blickprice still sells them too, which is my go-to supplier of all things art. We have one in Cleveland that I haven't been to yet, but I really want to. Okay, so this is it's basically a brown mixed with orange. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start getting those light highlights down to where they should be. So you see how wide that highlight is on the back of the vertical stabilizer, it's really small in real life. In IRL, let me show you. So it's really tiny. You see the top of it there. So instead of trying to paint that small with the white, I can go back in and like backfill it essentially with the brown. And you can froth. Nice. I can make cappuccinos with it. That's good. All right. So again, I've got this whole field on the tail here, so I can just start tucking in that highlight. Because so the thing is with the paint, any paint, certain paints like white have a really high pigment load in it, and they don't want to. I know I said load. Don't be that way. I they have a hard time painting real fine detail, where some of the other paints have a finer grind, or the pigment isn't as heavy, so you can get more detail out of that color. So I pick my battles. Like, I know I'm not going to get. It's difficult for me to get that really thin line with the white, so I just kind of go at it backwards. I just paint everything around that to get that color, or to get that that fineness of line. It's kind of a neat trick. All right. Yeah, it's weird. I don't have a palette cam to show you stuff or whatever. Chuck, what's up? Handle side of a straw cleaner on a Dremel to mix the paints in the bottle. Should we cut the brush pad off? That's a great idea too. Yeah, that's what it's awesome. Like my wet palette that I use all the time from Redgrass. Actually, that's not enough bulge there. That I got from the scale modeling people. It's like I've known about wet palettes for a long time. It's just that I never really used one, or the ones I've used in the past have been terrible. But in getting into all the scale modeling and stuff for fun, um, I found this company Redgrass that makes these wet palettes that are unbelievable. So it's really cool to like have like you're looking at other stuff and you find tools that are going to be super helpful, but also you'd never think of them, because you're not it's not in your your realm of whatever you're looking at. Like, again, the wet palettes have been around for a long time, but this company really did a great job at getting them to work, I guess. So back to this like orange color, this really light orange color. Just at this point, since I've kind of got everything in, just kind of defining edges, like where I can clean things up. Because again, what you're looking at right here is basically the sprayed through from the cut stencil that I had of the plane. So it's good, but it's not right. It's not all there. So you just kind of take it as it comes and make adjustments when you can. I originally wanted to have the penny showing, like the copper from the penny, but that didn't work out on this one. What I would probably do on the next one is not have so much background, just really, concentrate on the object, and then, have the background come out just like about this far, like an oval. I wanted to show the ground and everything, and once I did that, I couldn't really leave any of the copper. But it would have been fun to have the copper kind of visible on there. So maybe on the next one. George, the guy who's getting this, is a great guy. He's a retired engineer, and his job was to hunt down problems in electrical systems in cars, luxury cars. So he's a great guy. So to all my lock picking friends, George is also a lock picker, and also got into picking, or not picking, but breaking into safes. So that's one of his other skills, which is fun. We have a lot of cool stories. So I've been telling him my beginner lock picking woes, and because right now I'm brand new and definitely struggling with it, which is fun. It's cool learning something new. So Western Massacre Cheese Grits sent me an amazing bunch of lock picking tools and a book and a bunch of locks to mess around with, and he put tape on them to kind of show which ones are, harder or easier. So he gave me two or three white locks and then one yellow lock. The one thing I've noticed, and if you're still here, hey Elroy's, what's up? Um, Cheese, if you're still here, one thing I did notice, and all the lock pickers are going to be like, yeah, no kidding. The yellow lock, even though I can't get it open, it's made much better than the cheaper locks. So I can feel on that one the stuff that's going on in there, like the pins and everything. The real cheap locks are just feel like, I don't know, there's a bunch of weird stuff in there. Like you can't, like when you let go of the tension, you can feel all the pins kind of snap back on the better lock, but it doesn't feel like that on the cheap locks. They just kind of feel like all mush, like I can't tell what's going on in there. So it's interesting. And it made me think yesterday, as I was kind of still messing with them, that I'll probably end up opening the yellow lock first on a regular basis, just because I can feel what's going on in there, which is kind of interesting. So it's been a great journey, and I know I'm not telling you guys anything new if you're into all the lock picking stuff, but it's so cool just like starting something from brand new, like, having no idea how to do something and watching all you guys do it, like, in your sleep. It's a lot of fun. I have no idea, Gary. You have enough jewels for a gift. Send. What is that all about? I have no idea. Swamp. That would be awesome. That would be awesome because last night, literally, guys, I'm sitting in bed with with the locks, and I'm just like kind of hanging out and screwing around with them. So it is fun. All right, so the wing here, I don't have the wing right at all. The wing actually comes in a lot higher. So nice. I got the same thing. I think it's spam. Yeah, guys, I appreciate you being here. I have no idea. This is like I know YouTube is pushing this vertical format, and I know it's set up a lot like TikTok. So I don't know what any of the stuff is doing. I know it's different. So it's so funny because the last time I did a vertical live, I had my old Samsung phone, and it had felt its age, and I would literally have to keep it plugged in when I did a video because one, it would get like it would like it would like burn up to 1,000 degrees and it would be like glowing red hot. And the other thing was the battery would like nosedive. Like if I didn't have it plugged in, I could do like a 10-minute live and then it would crash. So I love spam. You just gotta prepare it correctly, Gary. Nothing like a good spam, Sammy. Oh boy. All right. So what I was saying here was the wing needs to come up into the plane a little bit more. I'll show you. So it's picking up little visual cues. So I've got the wing basically attached to the bottom of the fuselage here. It's not like that. It comes out of the middle of the plane, like that. In the middle of the rocket, the middle of the jet, whatever you want to call it. So that's what I'm saying. It's all about making these adjustments over and over again. And it's funny. People always say, when I'm doing these, that they're like, how long does it take and all this stuff. The small paintings, the smaller they are, it seems like the longer they take because it's all of this. It's just back and forth over and over again. So with a bigger painting, you can kind of nail things a little bit faster. So the bigger paintings don't take as long sometimes. Sometimes they do, but yeah, you would think smaller means faster, but it is just the opposite. Sometimes they just take longer. All right, so I'm going to extend that wing into the body a little bit. And again, this is that orangey white color. That going, I don't want that to be too big, like width-wise. So we're going to have to see what we're doing with that. Stuff posing as meat. Yeah, I didn't say it was real meat. I just said it was good. My God, I've been talking to friends today about There was this hot dog place. Speaking of, questionable meat products, there was a hot dog place in the greater Youngstown area that was just like everyone talked about it. It was like amazing. And they went out of business and they just found out that they're reopening, but they're opening inside of Penguin City Brewery, whatever they are, Penguin City. And so it's like you order your hot dog, but then that's not the menu. The menu is all the stuff you can put on it. And they have, from what they were telling me, it's like anything you can imagine. Like there was one of the girls was talking about they had a hot dog with those cereal marshmallows on it, which sounds gross and probably is gross, but I mean, you know, everything. So I'm looking forward to that because I'm not a big fan of Penguin City. I haven't found really any beers that I really like from them. They're all very, I don't know, they're all very homogenous. No matter what they are, they taste the same to me, which is not ideal, but I want to like them. So every time they come out with something new, I try it. And they have their brewery is in this old factory in Youngstown, which is really kind of cool. What I did there is I just took straight orange and I went over that to kind of, again, to get it back to close to what it should be. I know, right? Hot dogs with marshmallows on it, or cereal marshmallows even. Maybe not even, like, I don't know. Maybe that marshmallow fluff. I don't know. But I mean, then they're talking about the hot dogs. They have an Italian hot dog, so it's a hot dog, but it's got pepperoni and marinara and cheese. And I'm like, what? I want hot dogs right now. I love hot dogs. So anyway, the moral of that story is hot dogs can be another one of those, pretending they're meat products. But a good hot dog is unbeatable, especially at a baseball game. Brian Moore, we were talking about that because Brian's kids play play. Yeah, I think it's Little League, but it could be higher than that. But whatever it is, like just a hot dog at a baseball game is totally different. It's an amazing thing. All right, so back to the brown, and this is ultimately going to be pretty dark, but I'm using brown just so I can kind of draw in that shadow, so that I can get it in the right spot without too much commitment. If I did in the black or the real dark brown, and I wasn't right with it, then, again, that means all kinds of repairs. But this brown color, if it's not quite right, it's okay because it's not like a huge, like, black line across the bottom of it that I'd have to readjust and fix. So that's good. So there's a little bit of shadow above the wing and also the little, you can see where it connects now in the middle, which is better. So, Patricia, what's up? Welcome. Conscious Cookie Monster, ask a question. Conscious, I missed that. Is that MQ Reaper? Which one? The paintbrush or the airbrush? I don't know. Or the hot dog? Or the beer? I don't know. Because I don't know what an MQ Reaper is. I know there was an airbrush named a Reaper. I might be wrong about that. Yes, exactly. See, Gary knows. I love a good hot dog. All right. So the one thing that happens too when you're overworking something, especially now, the other thing that's weird about this is good old Abe is right behind here. So as I'm moving the paintbrush over this area where the jet is, there's all kinds of, Lincoln parts under there. You know what I'm saying? His nose. And so that just makes for weird brush marks on the jet. There's not too much I can do about that. You know what I mean? If I really wanted to have a completely smooth surface, then what I should have done was cleared it with like a heavier body clear, like a 2K clear, and fill this whole area and then sanded it. That would have been totally smooth, and then it would have been a neat surface to paint on. But then I would have lost. You wouldn't be able to see any of this unless it was clear. So maybe Planey's asking. Oh, maybe. No, this is the Bell X1, if that's the question. Conscious. Yeah, it's yes, it's a Bell X1, the plane that shall not be named, the glamorous Glennis, and I said it, so there. Now I've got copyright strikes on my video from the family of the pilot that shall not be named. All right, I'm back to that white because this corner of the wing needs to be sharper. So you get the idea. It's like non-stop, like nitpicky stuff. Now the good news is at the end of it, it's worth it, right? Because you have something that from far away, and I'll zip you guys back out. Even at this stage, if I back this way out, you anyone who knows anything knows that that's the Bell X1, the orange, rocket plane. So you can still tell, and you'd be about 12 inches away from here, and the frame for this is about, this size. So you'd be able to, still see what it is. But if you got closer, that's when, the details matter. So. So if you flip this coin, you win. Yeah, Michael, until it hits the ground and gets all smashed up. Although, again, you guys were here for the pool ball when I dropped it on the... excuse me. When I dropped it on the floor. That was bad. And nothing happened to it. I still don't know how that happened. Super happy with that. That was the, again, that same sealer that this company makes. They call it Autoborne Sealer is the name of the product. And it comes in clear and it comes in gray and white and black and primary colors. And it's just, for water-based, like base coat primer, its stuff is just amazing. All right, that feels good. This actually dips in a little bit too much, so I'm gonna kind of fix that too. So again, it's a back and forth. It's just kind of, running back and forth. Now I feel like I pushed the top of this too much. I also feel like this back section isn't enough because it isn't. So I'm still in okay shape here. What I gotta do is I gotta run the back of the spine of this plane straight across. And yeah, Cheese was asking about that giant sound in the background. My very ancient furnace is right next to me here. But as my heating and cooling guy says, she's a dinosaur, but she still works. So I'm gonna go with it. Yeah, wasn't that crazy, Michael? Hey, Mike, what's up? Thank you, Mike. 1947 was valued at several $1,000s without paint on it. Gary, you don't have any idea how fast I can strip this penny. I'll have it clean as a whistle, but I've already polished it, which takes away the value of it too. I should have just left it alone, but whatever. It's going to be George's problem now. All right, so I straightened out the spine of the plane a little bit, which is good, but see now it's obviously too white. So I've got the straight orange in here. And the orange is super transparent, which is great for this. I'm just gonna dry that out a little bit so it doesn't flood out. But if I go and put a light coat of that orange on here now, it just kind of tints that white and turns it back into what it should be. So the more times I go over that, the more orange it's going to be. So I can kind of just put a coat on and see how it looks. And, same thing down here. I want this a little bit less bright. And the horizontal stabilizer too. There we go. It is bright because the sun is hitting it from the top. So I want to keep those kind of bright. Pictures, that's a good question. So coins, I've only done a few coins, but Patricia, that's all I do really is paint really, really small. I've been focusing on painting small since about, I don't know, I'd say about 2010 is when I just kind of realized that I was really having a good time doing that. And but I've always felt really comfortable painting on a small scale. It's just, I don't know, it just always felt right to me. Not this small, but You know, all my paintings are under like 2 by 3 feet, even when I was working larger. Like 20 by 24 inches, I specifically remember being a very popular size for me, you know? Yeah, this is kind of wonky, so we'll fix that a little bit. By keeping the paint really thin too, I kind of avoid, or I have, it's a little bit easier to avoid the, you know, the brush strokes. Ultimately, this guy needs to be kind of smooth, so we'll deal with that after. Also, you notice there's a little cockpit here in the front. I'm not doing any of that detail, like the stars and bars, like on the wing and the little windows and stuff. Those don't get put in until I really get the body of it locked in. Yeah, razor blades have always been fun. So razor blades are what started this whole thing. Painting on razor blades. That was actually, that was probably sooner. I think that was 2008 was the first razor blade, 7 or 8. Hanging out with Mike Learn in Norway. The person, and that's my very, very first razor blade painting, and I just did it during that class for the person who had asked, because they had a new airbrush and wanted to see, you know, how fine the airbrush could get. It's not particularly good, but it's my very first my first razor blade that I painted, and he still has it. And I'm not gonna lie, it'd be fun to have that back, but I hope he keeps it forever. I know he will, because he still has it. It's been, you know, it's been that long. Again, it's not that good, but it was, yeah, it was good enough, I guess, for the time. I hope so, Tater. All right, so clean all this up now. So the end of the horizontal stabilizer is straight across, so now I kind of do that. Again, it's easier to do this in like, you know, 10 or 15 strokes than to try to like load the brush up and hit it once and get it. Because if I don't, then it's going to be screwed up. And all that work I did on this repair, I'd have to redo, which sucks really bad. Ask me how I know. Right? What could go wrong? Lots and lots. So what we'll do is, I'm gonna bump the camera around. It costs 4 cents to mint a penny, and that's why the United States is where it's at. Yeah, I gotta pick another event in history and get it ready. I'm sure I could get like a bunch of different coins from '69, so I could do the moon landing. That would be a good one. I also should probably check, like, you know, hopefully Gary wasn't joking. I mean, if he was, that'd be great. Like I said, I've done stupider things in life than, you know, ruin a $4,000 coin. So, but I really should probably check the coins before I go and vandalize them. Just in case, you know, I have, what is it, all those double die coins that are worth like 20 grand. Don't want to be doing anything like that. Grain of rice. I got to do another one of those, Michael. Yep. I told you my grain of rice woes. Yeah, if I do that again, it's definitely going to be sprayed with 6,000 and super smooth and non-absorbent, because dumbass me decides to paint a grain of rice, but the rice is dried out, obviously, because that's how rice is, and you go and paint water-based paint on it, and it just sucks that stuff right up. Makes a total mess. So yeah, I'll have to get that. All right, so there's a fade between the brown and the orange. which I'm gonna do with the airbrush, but I wanna kind of establish, make sure I've got everything right first, and I'm feeling pretty good about that right now. Yeah. Yeah, because I've got the horizontal stabilizers good, and the wing now cuts into the body where it should, so that's good. W. Scott King, what's up? Rounding penny up just increased tax liability. Exactly. Paint on a mercury dime. Tater, yeah, see, that's what I'm afraid of now. I'm gonna like pick something from like, you know, like World War I, and the penny's gonna be like one of the, or from the Depression, because I know a lot of the Depression coins are worth a lot. That's all I'll need to do is, you know, put Al Capone on one and the penny will be worth like 80 grand before I go and screw it all up and now it's worth nothing. I have seen a bunch of people that paint on dollar bills or, you know, paper currency, which is really, really cool too. And there are dates on paper currency too, so I could probably do something like that. I don't know. What? Oh, the sealer on rice? Yeah, Michael, that would work. The trick is you have to, like anything, you know, I would put a light coat on, really let it cure, and then just, you know, keep that up. You put a few coats on it. The question is how do you clear coat a grain of rice? I'd have to work on that. The other thing, I've done a number 11 X-Acto blade, which is this guy right here. I've done a painting on that, which was a lot of fun. So I've got a bunch of those prepped too. I did a double-edged Gillette blade. I'll never do one of those again, just because the blade is so thin, like physically thin. It just was bending all over the place. It was a nightmare to paint. Okay, so let's straighten this out a little bit. What I really should do is what we were just talking about. So, but I can't really do that with you guys because it takes time to clear. This is the Autoborn sealer I was just talking about. This is the transparent one. It's 6,000. It's got this milky kind of look to it, but it dries totally clear. So what I should do right now is I should spray this and then let this cure. So normally I would let it cure overnight. You don't have to let it cure overnight. It's basically curing about 15 minutes. But if you let it go overnight, it's really, you know, all those solvents evaporate out of it and it's bulletproof. Because what I want to do right now is kind of work on those fades between, like the fade between the brown and the orange. And it'd be so nice to do that on the clear, so if anything happens, I can just wipe it off, basically. Now that's the right way to do it, but that's not fun video stuff because that would end the feed because we'd have to wait for it to cure. So we're just gonna, well, we're gonna go for it and see what happens. Say it with me. What could go wrong? All right, I need, where is it? I need me a little blumber, which is just wicked black. So it's black, opaque black, and burnt umber. And this is gonna be my my final shading color. So this, it looks black here in the bottle. Let me blast this out. Do you do these paintings for a hobby? No, Patricia, this is it. This is what I do. So, so this is Wicked Blumba. If you're from New England, that's how you say it. And you know, you got to prove me wrong. I will show you what this looks like in a second. Let me get it into the airbrush first, and then I will show you what this color looks like. It's Wicked Blumba, kid. It's Super Blumba. Those are my people. I grew up in Massachusetts. I just moved to Ohio in 2000. So 2000. What am I saying? 2020. So I still have all my family back there. So, all right. Let me show you what this looks like. And what I'll do is I'll back out a little bit, like this. I'm from the United States of America. There you go. All right, so it's just white paper here. So if I put a drop of this out, it's basically just a really brownish black. So when I spread this out, you'll see a little bit better. So it's a really warm kind of brownish black. That's what you get when you mix. This is Wicked Burnt Umber and Wicked Black. So you mix those two colors together. There is no formula for me. I just kind of mix it on the fly. So sometimes it's a little bit more brown, sometimes a little more black. Pennies are minted for 232 years. See, I didn't know that. That's pretty interesting. And then I could get into, painting coins from around the world and really screw things up, get like a ancient Greek coin that's worth $1 zillion and put a euro on it and have people like just scream and yell at me. That'll be fun. Antique wax, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a good way to describe it. All right, so that's what's in there right now. And I did add a little bit of reducer to that. You can get a better feel for that. It's kind of milky, again, because of that clear that's in there. But that'll all kind of evaporate off. All right. So this is classically working without a net, which is not a great idea, but it's okay. So I will use a stencil just to make sure I don't go below onto the background. So what's going on here is as I'm spraying with the airbrush, it's just naturally like overspraying onto the edge, onto that edge line, and that gives me more of a soft edge on there. What I am going to do is I'm going to start using the magnet a little bit here, I think, because what I do is with the airbrush to really get like a lot more control with it. This other side I'll show you. So if normally, you're airbrushing, you're just kind of doing your thing and whatever. But if I want a lot more control, I need to brace this other hand. So usually what I do is I just kind of like cup my left hand into my right, or my right hand into my left hand. And then what I'll be doing is I'll just be using my left hand to kind of direct the overall motion of the airbrush. So this will allow me to get much steadier because my left hand is on the surface. It's resting right on the surface. So all I'm doing is just kind of using my left hand to kind of move my right hand around. And then obviously, there's input from my right hand as well, you put between my fingers, but everything's really braced down on there. So that's kind of what we're doing. Now you need both hands, so I can't hold the template as well. So that's where the magnets come into play. Yeah, Adam, it's a beautiful brush. I mean, I started with the Micron SB, which is a side feed, but I've been using gravity feeds for so long, the B really made sense for me. It's a beautiful brush. It's super picky if you start putting heavy stuff into it, but I literally only use it for the tiniest details. So maybe basic for you, but any tips on how to see these small shading values other words, how to keep them from going too dark too soon? Yeah, that's a great question, Scott. The best thing I can tell you on that is underpainting. Underpainting is the king. So if you're trying to get this to be like what I'm doing now is I'm basically bringing it to the end of the its value range, which is that darker color. But when I started this, it was more just like a darker orange. You know what I mean? So what I'm able to do is I'm able to spray or paintbrush in the darker shadow areas without a lot of commitment. You know what I mean? Like if I have a lighter orange color, I can paint that in. If I screw it up, it's not that bad. It's not that hard to fix. Where if I just go for it, then if it doesn't come out right, I have to fix it. And that's a pain in the butt. So it's basically moving really, really slow. Yeah, the Creos brushes are amazing too. My Creos is around here somewhere. But yeah, that's what I could say to you, Scott, about that. Creep up on it real slow, and that's gonna be a big help for you. And then that's really what goes on. Now there's another, if you've seen Drew Blair's work, and the way he teaches, Drew's work is very he basically nails the color right out of the gate, and then you're only dealing with minor adjustments at the end to that color. So that's another way to do it too. If you have the target color already and you're locked in, you can't go too dark because you'd reach saturation and it just stays that color. So that's the other thing. The way I like to work and the way I've always worked is more like a watercolorist, where I'm layering on layering. But you run the risk, like you said, you could go too dark real easily. You just pop it up and it's now, it's a mess. So I would say first, kind of work with the underpainting. That's the key. Then you're not trying to get the whole thing done all at once. You've already got the basic shapes and the rough value kind of in there. And then at the very end, you're just like tweaking it like I'm doing here. So hopefully that helps. Yeah, that Creos brush, I bought one, when did I buy that? A few years ago. I bought the 0.3 version. I can't remember what model that is, but I saw them at Createx, and I was really impressed with them. I'm a big Japanese airbrush fan anyway. It was my first airbrush was in Iwata. That being said, this little guy has been like crazy good. This is the Infinity CR Plus. And after I put a little piece of sandpaper on the trigger because I don't really like the texture on the trigger, but this brush is a beast. So this is right in line with the Micron B as well. Good brush. 270 or 289. Yeah, I think it's a 289 is the one that I got. But whatever that 0.3 gravity feet is, I'm trying to find it. It's usually right here. I don't know what I do with it. Somewhere around here. Yeah, the other big one that I was using a lot of was the Rich Pens. The Rich Pen, the 213 was a great model. Again, Rich Pen is another, or was another. I'm not sure if they're still making them. I think they are. Another great Japanese airbrush company. Olympus was the other one, but I think it's only, I don't know that you can buy their airbrushes anymore. I think you can. So Olympus was the originator of Micron, and then they were taken over by Iwata. There's Scott. What's up? Sotars. Adam, I have a Sotar too here. I haven't used it in a while because where is that Patriot Arrow? I have a Patriot Arrow that really, really works well. So I haven't used a Sotar in a while. There we go. So that darkened that up nicely. There's a little bit of weirdness going on there. I kind of hit that a little bit too hard. So we're gonna, since that paint is stupid thin, we're just gonna erase it. Scott, have you recovered from SEMA? Are you all back? Scott is the king of getting extra legroom on airplanes. So that's Scott's thing. So this here is just a pencil eraser. This is a 7058 from Faber-Castell. And it's a great eraser. It's fairly soft, but it's also white, which is nice because it doesn't leave any kind of residue. So what I want to do is I want to sharpen this up a little bit so I have a really sharp point on it. I waste more eraser this way, but all I'm doing is taking an X-Acto knife and just sharpening up the point here. Yeah, I'm not going to be on for too much longer, guys. So if you have other stuff going on, and then Wednesday night, again, Timothy John Luke Smith is on Wednesday nights. So when he gets back at it, I'm not going to be taking Wednesday, but keep an eye out. If you're not subscribed, please do that and turn on the notifications because these little pop-up lives are going to start happening more frequently. Because like I said, when I started, thanks to talking to Cheese Grits, it's just really easy to turn my phone on and go. You know what I mean? The nozzle on the Micron B is 0.18. On the Infinity, I'm just gonna say it's 0.2, but it's probably a little bit smaller than that. But it feels like a 0.2. It feels like a micron. All right, so same deal with the eraser, just like everything. I'm not going to dig in really hard. I got a really light touch here because the overspray that I'm taking off here is really, really thin. So I don't have to go nuts on it. Plus, the other thing that again, this is throwing me off, the reason why it took overspray right there is because that's the back of Lincoln's head. So as I'm spraying here, the airbrush, the paint is kind of going over here and sticking to the back of his head. So I don't want to race too hard because what you're seeing now is the shadow of the back of his head. So it's really weird working on pennies. That's all I got to say about that. But there you go. I'm going to probably call it there because everything's going well and I don't want to screw this up. But I will do with you guys though real quick is I'll show you the 6000, what it does. So for this, I need a good size brush. Obviously it's a penny. It's not a huge surface area, so I don't need to pull out a spray gun. But something like this guy is a good thing to have if you're looking for something real small. This is the tritium from Grex. Now mine is broken because I dropped it again. You can see the back of this is all mangled in and I snapped the screw off the back. So I got to get replacement parts for this. But this is really great. This is a 0.7 millimeter brush and it's got a fan cap, which is really rare. You know, you don't have small guns like this with fan caps. But if I had this, it would take like 2 or 3 passes and it would be done. This is what I usually use to clear a lot of the small paintings. But again, dumbass me dropped it. So in a pinch, I can use this guy here. So this is a Iwata Eclipse CS, but it's got the nose of a nozzle of a BCS, a bottle feed. So it's a 0.5 millimeter brush now. Now, what did I do? What did I do with it? Got it somewhere here. This stuff here, there it is, transparent sealer. So out of the bottle, it's really thick. They usually recommend reducing this 10 to 15% for a spray gun. You have to go a little bit more than that. So with an airbrush, I reduce it about 20%. So it's a sealer by itself. And then the reducer, which is 4021, even though mine says 4011, if you can read that. And what I do with those is I usually get a small bottle and I pre-mix it just to make it easy. It's all ready to go. This is 20%, and that's what it is. So I'm pretty happy with everything that I did tonight. You know, there's nothing that really needs to be overly fixed, although, you know, you never know. Even if I did need to fix this, I would still spray this now with the clear because I can still, you know, just kind of keep going over it. All right, so get you guys close so you can see what's going on there. But it's really light coats. I'm gonna put the first coat on. Nice and even. So what you want to do with this stuff is you want to spray enough of it, and I'll tilt it so you can see it. It's real shiny. So you want to spray enough of it that it's wet enough that one little droplet is right next to another, and then they merge when you're done spraying. You know what I mean? If you go too heavy, if you like hose this thing down, you're not doing yourself any favors. It can delaminate. It's just, it can't cure right. So you want to go just enough so that when you spray it to just, you know, like I said, to a wet enough coat that those little droplets are just going to kind of merge together and create that, that even pass across the whole thing. You also don't want to go too dry. You don't want to go too light because then it's basically like sandpaper. It's like rough. You have all those individual little droplets. So it takes a little bit of getting used to. The way I do it is I'll look at it from an angle like this. And actually, I shouldn't do this, but I'm going to do this for you guys. I'll hit it again and you'll see it better from this angle. So as you make that pass, you go just till it just starts to wet up, you know, just like has that wetness to it. And that's pretty much it. And then now when I come back tomorrow, that's going to be bulletproof. That's going to be all locked in. So even if I were to like accidentally scratch my finger across it, it's not going to come off, which is really nice. Oh, there you go. So hopefully you saw that second one. Oh, good. Okay, great. So that's it. So yeah, when I'm spraying the clear, I usually always kind of hold it at an angle like that so I can see it in the light. Same thing if I'm spraying like a similar color on a similar color. Like if I'm going white on white, like, you know, whatever, I'll hold it at an angle as well so I can see that kind of going like that too. But there you go. Let me back you guys all the way up and I'll kind of show you where we're at. But there, it's kind of cool, right? It's looking like what it's supposed to. See, the top of that wing is too bright, and other stuff that I'll make adjustments on. But I'm super happy. I wish I had the frame here for you. This I made a little oak frame for it, which will be a lot of fun, and there'll be glass in it and everything. So that's what we got. All right. So thanks for hanging out with this weird live feed on the side type of thing. So this was fun. And oh, thanks, Echo. That's awesome. Welcome. So thanks for joining me for this. I have a full schedule on YouTube. If you're new, welcome. Definitely want to come back on Monday night for the big live feed, because I give away a painting every week. So you can come in and grab a painting just by making a suggestion for me to paint. I have Open Studio on Wednesday, which is a half-hour video on a really major painting that I'm working on. And then every Tuesday, I do a little time lapse. It's real quick and fun. So that's what we got going on. So thanks for joining me. You guys are great, making me feel at home. And I will catch you guys all on the next one. Now I got to figure out how to stop this thing. Love you guys. I'll see you later.